Welcome to the Prospect Warehouse podcast. This is episode 12, and we are on team number 11 when it comes to minor leaguers because we had one offer pod on our tool shed discussion that Doc and I did. So if you're interested in the tool shed mock draft and you want to hear the guys that Doc and I drafted in that draft, go check out that last pod about the tool shed mock draft. There are a lot of other podcasts that have talked about their drafts in that same draft. So Eric has had some podcasts on Toolshed Pod, obviously, Eric Cross. And then I know Jeff Ponce has done a few on Baseball America from his part in the draft. So go check that out. And James Anderson has done one too. So you can check out and see how everyone feels about their teams from that mock. Of course, everyone is going to think their team is the best. I think my team is the best. Doc thinks his team is the best. If you don't think your team is the best when you do it, you're doing something wrong.
And you'll never even know because it was you did a fake baseball draft of fake players, and it doesn't even play out. Like you don't even know.
I wish I could play that one out. I love my team in that thing. So
that's just like that is next level. I mean, that's another level removed. We're all doing all this fake baseball stuff, and you guys are spending all this time drafting 500 players in a freaking mock draft, and half of them are like 19 years old. That's like next level.
Yeah, well, that's the way we do it. So obviously, John is here. You can follow John on X at JohnPGH. You can follow me, Tim Kanak, at Fantasy Aceball on the X. And today we are going to be talking about the Tampa Bay Rays. And this is one thing: are they just the Tampa Rays? Tampa Bay Rays? There's talk of moving the stadium. They're actually going to be. This is one thing to know for Major League Baseball. They're going to be back in the Tropic Thunderdome or whatever they call it. They're gonna be back in the dome this year.
Okay.
They're not going to be long. They will no longer be at Steinbrenner Field. So no more easy home runs. So, like Caminero have had his best season ever,
right?
Just because of the field. So just something to keep in mind for
draft. There's a flag in the season-long projections. I actually ran them yesterday. I didn't publish them yet. But last year I had to edit that. I had to basically, when it was doing the Rays, I had to say change the home park to Yankee Stadium, basically. So I got to undo that because I didn't actually know that. And that does make quite a bit of difference. I mean, especially like pitchers always really excelled in Tropicana because it was, I don't know what it was, the batter's eye or like there's even some stuff about the elevation being lower there, which like bumps up pitch movement and stuff like that. So like pitchers would get a stuff plus boost, movement boost and stuff, but that didn't seem to exactly be applying in Steinbrenner. And then the fences were way closer and stuff. So hard to judge all this stuff, but that is a pretty significant park move. So that's good to know.
And it's Florida. So Florida wind plays a major factor, and it all depends on what way the stadium is facing. Because in Florida, wind and storms and this is a thing you learn when you live in Florida. The storms and the wind start in the middle of the state, in the Everglades, and then they go outward. And
they last like 5 minutes, right?
Yeah. Well, especially in Tampa, man. That's the Lightning. The reason that the Tampa Bay Lightning, the hockey team, are called the Lightning is because Central Florida is the lightning capital of the world. And I went to college in Orlando, so at UCF. So yeah, tons of lightning, tons of storms. You get sun showers where it's completely sunny outside and rain comes out of nowhere. You're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
That's Florida.
And then I was there for one. We went to just Pirate spring training like a year after we got married before we had kids, and it was like it would be pouring, and you'd be like, oh crap, like this game I'm about to go to is going to get canceled. Like this sucks. The days are in, and then it would just stop, and the sun would come out, and like 15 minutes later, you wouldn't even know that it was just raining. So that was something.
Yeah, exactly. Always bring a towel. I've learned always bring a towel to minor league games just in case you have to dry your seat off for a random 5-minute rain.
Before we start, a couple new things that I released let me show this window. I released the NFBC data ADP dashboard, so I filtered it to the Rays for you guys. I know we're talking about prospects, but Carson Williams is here. We'll talk about him. So like, here you go. This is tracking all the NFBC drafts, which are like either 600 or 750 pick drafts. So a lot of stuff here. You can just kind of go see what the high stakes fantasy players are doing already. People are already drafting teams. These are redraft stuff, so it's not quite applicable to us. Also, here's the beginnings of the 2026 ranks. Wouldn't really advise anybody look at it now because I'm only, I do have one player at a time. So there's only 5 teams worth of dudes on here, but looking a little bit better. The colors are maybe a little bit need some work here, but you can click right there and go right to player write-ups and stuff. So that's going on. Projections are out. But the big one for, as we'll also see as we get into it, added some stuff. Because I heard you, Tim, I heard you and Doc being like, Doc was like, doesn't this thing have steals on it? The steals, and then you didn't even have the pitcher height and the handedness and stuff, which pretty key information to know what arm the pitcher throws with. But another thing is the prospect comps tab. I don't know, you probably haven't had time to check this out yet, but this is all on the MLB DW web app. I'll probably pull up a few of these guys as we go, but you can see, pick a minor league player and see what major league comps we get. So that's kind of fun.
Yeah,
and
I love that.
How accurate it is or anything like that. It's not scientifically tested, but something we can play with.
Yeah, I love that. Durangelo Sagente. I want to see. We're gonna have to check him to see if it shows switch arm.
Okay, yeah, I couldn't even guess how to spell that name though. You'll have to help me out.
Yeah. Well, he's a Mariner, so we'll talk about him on the Mariners, and we'll double check to see if it's just throw switch, because he's the one guy who throws with both arms.
It's not going to say that. I can tell you it's going to pick one or the other.
Yeah. Left/right. So we're gonna start with the Rays. Top 20 Rays prospects. Number 20 is starting pitcher Marcus Johnson. So Marcus Johnson is a control pitcher. Not a lot of strikeouts. 24 years old, spent the season in high A. So whole season in high A. College guy from Duke, drafted in 2022. I don't know if he's had arm issues and stuff, because they've been moving him up really slowly. But this is something that you see pretty common in the Rays system. The Rays are really slow at bringing guys up, especially pitchers. Like, they promote pitchers very, very slowly. Hitters, you might say the same thing. But I feel like with hitters, they promote faster, but they like to platoon them unless you're Junior Caminero. So you can see on the F scores, Marcus Johnson on 124 F control. He had a 2.8% walk rate on the season, John. So ridiculous control, but only a 24.2% K rate as a 24-year-old in high A. So you're like, I don't really know about the stuff, how good the stuff's going to be. Swing strike rate's pretty decent. But with the K rate, I'm not a big fan of the K rate. So that's why he's 20, because you'd say, 2% walk rate, this guy should be ranked higher. But he's in high A as a 24-year-old.
Even I know that's really old.
Yeah,
it's crazy old. Okay.
Yep. So this is Marcus Johnson. Number 19, Cooper Kinney. I like Kinney a little bit. He's a second baseman. He had some pretty good weeks, but he's one of these guys that would like pop some weeks when I do my weekly rankings, and then other weeks like nothing. But in Double A as a 22-year-old, he was a comp pick. So he's actually like a 34th overall pick in 2021. So he's got some pedigree here, some prospect pedigree. F scores kind of like him a little bit. Like, when you see something like this, a 103 power, a 104 hit, but 90 discipline and 85 speed, you're like, okay, that looks pretty like replacement level-ish, right? Like, that's a guy that like might have, some good weeks here or there, but I don't know if he's not going to be an all-star or superstar with stuff like that. But he is a solid player, and I think that he's going to get some run because of his pedigree. He may get a chance to be a starting caliber player at some point, Cooper Kinney. And he's still 22 at Double A.
But they have like you said earlier, Rays really don't let lefties face lefties. They seem to have committed to that. Has there been a Rays player that played 155 games? I guess there's been injuries and stuff. Caminero is the guy, but it seems like the ceiling is just a little bit limited for all these Rays hitters as they come up.
Yep, a lot of platoons with the Rays org. Number 18 is Xavier Isaac, first baseman. There's a lot of hype behind Isaac. I might be like the lowest guy on him. I've been pretty low on him for a while. There's a ton of power here, but he has major splits concerns. Like, he has like the worst splits. Pull him up. His splits are terrible. Look at his average against lefties, a 0.63 batting average and a 369 OPS against lefties, but over 1,000 OPS against righties. So like, this is actually like really good for the Rays, because this is like what you want. But for fantasy, you're not going to love a guy who has over 1,000 OPS on one side and then a 369 on the other side.
That's hilarious. That was really funny. Yeah. I've never seen
his contact rates are terrible against both, but he does have a lot of power. And I think, like, I don't know, because he's a lefty first baseman, like he's a first baseman, he'll probably be first base DH, and he'll just be a platoon guy. Like, he'll be good against righties, bad against lefties. I guess in daily
You know what that
leagues.
is? You know what that is? That's what we call a DFS darling right there. He'll be super
Yes.
cheap and hitting bombs when a bad righty's on the mound. So I can't wait to play him in a couple of years.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, he's 21 at double A. So there's a ton of power here. 122 power on the F score. But hit tool 94. So yeah, definitely this is a guy who's going to jack a lot of bombs against righties, and it's going to be completely useless against lefties. Probably, I think the Rays are a really smart org. So I doubt he ever even plays against lefties because they already know this. So they're really smart. But that's Xavier Isaac. So like there's people who have Xavier Isaac as like a top 100 to 200-ish prospect, and it's like with those splits, no, like automatically no for most fantasy leagues. But that's where I have Isaac ranked. Number 17 is Mac Horvath, outfielder. They got him from the Orioles last year. I want to say who did the Orioles get from the Rays? It was a pitcher. I'm trying to remember. Who did they trade?
Trevor
for?
Rogers?
No, not Rogers. They got who
That
did
was
they
the
get from the
Marlins.
Rays? Yeah, that's the Marlins. This is the Florida week, by the way.
Zach Eflin.
Marlins next. Yeah, Zach Eflin. So he came over in the Zach Eflin trade. Good one. So Mac Horvath is a super interesting guy for power and speed. Not a good hit tool. If you pull him up here, you can see a 99 hit. Actually, he gets a better F score rating than I would probably think off bat. But a 109 power, 128 speed, 108 discipline. So he's mostly tools. Contact actually 76. He did pretty good this year compared to last year. But this year on the season, 16 homers and 41 steals. Yeah, what is his comp here? Oh my gosh, Corbin Carroll. No, Jeremy Pena. Okay, Luis Robert. That's a good one. Lou Bob, David Hamilton, and Javier Sanoja. So that's
so all this does is it compares the minor league F scores with the major league, finds the differences, and sees which is the smallest gap. You can also go in here and say, I don't care about his age. I don't care about his hit tool or whatever, and it recalculates. So stuff like that. It's not the most fancy thing in the world. It's not looking at
Cruz,
batted, all that stuff. But
Jake Fraley, I think that's a good comp. Actually, that's a really good comp for Horvath. Yeah. I think. So if you pull him up, let's look at his.
Here's the steals. Yeah, that's the other new thing here we got.
Yeah, there we go. Look at that. 33 steals last year, 41 this year. And on the steals thing, you're going to see the percent rate. So you see attempt rate is going to be how often they're trying to steal when they're on first. Correct, John?
Yep.
That's only when they're on they're only when they're on first, or is that when they're on any base?
It tries to isolate it. It's not perfect. It just adds, because I want to do it all with box scores, to like run a script that actually finds every time they were on first with nobody on second. It's incredibly complicated, and I basically can't do it. So all it does is it estimates it. It uses walks, singles, hit by pitch, and it calls those opportunities, and then it looks at attempts divided by opportunities to get the attempt rate.
That's awesome. So that is going to tell you how aggressive they are on the base pass.
Average is about 12% or something. So like 20% is high, 30% is crazy high.
Yeah, this guy's running. And stolen base percentage is going to be how successful they are at actually stealing the bags. Yes. So 85% is good.
Yes.
I think what I read or heard this somewhere,
80%
that most major league coaches are looking for 80% or above. If someone's below 80%, they're probably going to get a red light more.
Yep.
So you want 80% or above. 85% is pretty good, and he's aggressive. So I think that's something that could continue. You can see on here that he's 24 years old, though, at high A. So do take that into consideration with Horvath. I keep texting John. I'm like, we got to get this H to level thing worked out because that's.
I thought you'd be happy with me, Tim. I give you the steals. I got this. I got the pitcher heights and weights and arms and stuff. I even fixed the thing where it wasn't showing the age here. Like that's fixed. I did a lot of work yesterday.
Oh, trust me, I'm still happy. I'm happy.
Satisfied.
I'm never satisfied. I grind people to the ground. But we will get the H to level thing, which will help. Let us now go to number 16, Dominic Keegan. He's a catcher. And another thing to note here, I've talked about this on some of these podcasts, that some systems are way better than other systems. The Rays have a really good farm system, and they have for a long time. So just keep in mind that you cannot compare like the number 16 Rays guy with the number 16 Angels guy. It's just not even close. Dominic Keegan is a good catcher. 100 hit tool, 114 power, 97 discipline. This is a guy who will at least be a backup catcher in the majors, I think. If not, get starting attempts. He's 25 years old at AAA. So this is a guy who could make a difference next year for you. and he hits the ball pretty hard. Scroll back down to those EVs there, John. 113.5 max EV and a 107 90th, 91.4 average. That's really good for a catcher. So he can hit the ball, and he can hit the ball hard for a catcher. So Dominic Keegan, 25-year-old catcher at AAA, probably a good chance we see him in the majors this year. Who's the Rays catcher? They traded Danny Jansen. Like I can't even remember who the Rays catcher is right now.
I didn't know they traded Danny Jansen. Let's see.
Yeah, they traded him at the deadline. I have no idea who they're.
I just told him Nick Fortes and
from the Marlins. Yeah,
they don't even Hunter Fiducia, the fiduciary 28-year-old.
Sounds like a douche. I think Keegan could probably get that back.
But you didn't even mention the strikeout rate. I saw it 31%. That's trouble.
Yeah, 31%. Yeah, I know. But if you're gonna hit the ball hard, you're gonna miss a little bit. But that's okay for a catcher. I mean, like John, would you rather have a catcher with a high batting average and no power, or would you rather have a catcher that is gonna put up a rookie Cal Raleigh season where they hit 220 with 30 bombs?
I mean, are those the only two options here? Really?
Yeah.
I do. My advice is always get a catcher that can do something. Pick if they have one skill, that's fine in fantasy, and usually that skill is power. But a 31% K rate in the minors usually turns into like 35% in the majors, and then you're not even hitting homers at a high enough rate at that point. So that's.
I mean, Ryan Jeffers or Kiberu Ruiz, right?
Yeah, Jeffers, of course, but Jeffers, this guy's got a long way to go before he gets to what Jeffers can do.
Ryan Jeffers, yeah. But good player. 15 is Gary Gilhill, a starting pitcher. This is another guy that a lot of people really love, and I'm like really not as high on him as some of the other people in the prospect industry. So you can see his number 15 here. Like, for instance, Fangraphs has him ranked number 6. So Eric Longenhagen really loves him. But he only had a 13.5 K minus walk this year, the whole year at high A as a 20-year-old. So he does have a good age to level here. And he has good command, 5.3% walk rate. So you see the F control 117, but the stuff 79, because he only had a 9.9 swinging strike rate in high A this year and a 13.5 K minus walk. So not a fan of those things. 13.3. Yeah, there we go for this year, because you got both years on there. So not a lot of great stuff. Like even last year at A-ball, he only had a 24.2 K percentage last season. So like the stuff is not great. Control is very good. Like this type of guy, I don't know. What do you think, John? Like basically Marcus Johnson is better, but he's also much older. So I give Gary Gilhill the edge due to the age between those two guys. But they're kind of similar pitchers.
I'm overly simplistic, and I know my mind is still being transformed into this idea that you don't need these guys to have stud potential to be worthy in fantasy, because we're talking about much different leagues than what I'm used to. But yeah, I mean, if you're only giving me a 21% K rate and a sub 12% swinging strike rate in the minors, I feel like it's really not worth even really thinking about until you can improve on that. I mean, there are so few major league pitchers that are good in fantasy with K rates under league average that it's really hard to justify. But that's maybe a little overly simplistic, as I said, but we'll see. It's a cool name, Gilhill.
Yeah, Gary Gilhill. That's one you'll remember. Number 14 is like a generic name, Ty Johnson, starting pitcher.
So running back for the Bills, isn't
Marcus. it? Yeah, Marcus Johnson and Ty Johnson here. So Ty Johnson, number 14. Don't get them confused. Ty Johnson is better. He's the number 14 player here, starting pitcher in Double-A this year as a 23-year-old. A really, really good season. The reason I don't have him ranked higher is I'm kind of iffy on his arsenal. He had a lot of velocity increase this year, and I don't know how real it is after watching like Quinn Matthews like come back down to earth once he got to AAA. But this year, Ty Johnson had a 25.8 K minus walk, a 17.7 swing strike rate. So really good stuff. You see the F scores, love him. 127 F stuff, 117 F control, 117 F ERA. And when you look at that, 224 JA ERA, you'd say, Tim, why isn't this guy ranked higher? It's all Arsenal based because number one, he was pitching in the Southern League this year, which is great for pitchers, bad for hitters. Number two, like I said, he had a major velocity bump this year, and I'm just not really sure how real that is. He has very little prospect pedigree as a 15th rounder in 2023 out of Ball State. So we will see if he continues the trend of being good in the next year, and he might break my top 10 for the org if he can do that, if we see some of this velocity continue here for him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, obviously, like really great F scores, right? Number 13, Jackson Baumeister kind of had an opposite year of Ty Johnson. So Jackson Baumeister had a really, really good 2024 and a really, really bad 2025. And Doc picked him. Ty Johnson was not picked, by the way, in the tool shed mock. Jackson Baumeister was picked by Doc. Jackson Baumeister has a good pedigree and really great stuff from last year. This year, you can see this year pretty, not good. 426 JAERA, 89 stuff, 102 control, 102 FERA. But if we bring it back to last year, Doc, if you want to bring that slider back to last year.
You call me Doc. You call me Doc.
Oh my God, John, sorry.
It's all right. One strike.
Only one.
All right. 33% K last year, 33% K rate, 12% walk.
So much better. Like basically a completely different pitcher. And I like his arsenal. Like his stuff, when you watch it, is really good. And that's why I give him the edge to Ty Johnson, despite Ty Johnson having the better year, like pretty easily between the two, even though both of them were pitching in the same league. They're both pitching in Double A this year. But also Baumeister only pitched 62 innings this year, only 15 starts. So some of his struggles might have been due to injury. And in the minors, a lot of injuries and stuff are not really disclosed to us. So you kind of have to guess. Like they'll just like not start and stuff like that. And you're like, okay, something's going on here. I'm not really sure what. But that would be my guess because he was really good in 2024.
I was going to do a comparison, but I need to make this multi-select. I can only select one guy at a time here. So another thing to add to the list. Anyway.
Yeah, that would be cool. Number 12 is another starting pitcher, Yaniel Curet, who throws the ball really, really hard. He can get up to 100 miles an hour on the fastball. And again, he was hurt. So at the beginning of the season, he was hurt. He actually finished the season healthy and had a nice end of the year. He does have command issues. So this is the one thing with him is like he could end up being a reliever. You see it, they label it as a sinker on here, but he throws the sinker 96. Got up to AAA this year and really bad command, 17.4% walk rate at AAA. And this is one of the things, John, that I talk about a lot, right? Is that a lot of pitchers struggle with command when they get to AAA. At AA this year, he had a 6.8% walk rate. And then at AAA, it jumped up to 17.4. And so this is exactly what happened to Quinn Matthews. This is what happened to a lot of these guys, like your Brandon Sprout. But they get to AAA, and then all of a sudden their command goes like completely down the tube, like doubles or triples over their career average.
Yeah, lost
like,
K too. Lost 6 points of strikeout rate.
Well, I mean, that's what's going to happen if you're walking everybody because people are just going to sit there and let the ABS do the work for them, right? Mm-hmm. So AAA, you've got ABS. And so guys just aren't going to swing if they know that the guy's can't throw it in the zone. So they'll just sit there and let ABS do the work for him. But he was really good at every level until AAA this year. AAA, he had a rough time. But Curet, I think he may end up being a reliever, but he does throw the ball really hard. And he has been a starter. He has a track record of being a starter. And so, like, it's not a guy you really want to give up on yet. But if the Rays want to fast track him, because he's only 22, he'll be 23 next year. If the Rays want to fast track him, they're the type of team that will put someone in the bullpen for a year or two and then eventually convert them to a starter. Like this year, for instance, they traded for Griffin Jacks, and they traded Taj Bradley for Griffin Jacks. So I think there's a good chance that we see Griffin Jacks start this year for the Rays, and then maybe Curet like backfills his bullpen role. And then in a year or two, when Griffin Jacks is a year away from free agency or whatever, and the Rays trade him, then they'll turn Curet back into a starter. That's like the Rays move.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. I thought the Twins were going to do that with Jacks last year. I was pretty excited, but didn't do it. I think he's a great candidate to go to the rotation and have a lot of success. I mean, that's not who we're talking about, but that's certainly something to note for early drafts. Let's see if people have kind of picked up on that. See what are the people thinking? Griffin Jacks looks like there's some buzz about that because maybe he could be a closer too, I guess. But this is decent ADP, well inside the top 400 for Jacks. So maybe some thoughts there. But that's if he were to be in the rotation, this would maybe this guy's thinking that like 220 is pretty. But anyway, let's keep going.
Yeah, for sure. Number 11 is Braylon Guerrero. This guy is a top 150 prospect for me. So again, just showing how deep this system is. He made my last update top 150. I don't know if he'll make the next one, but he made the last one. Braylon Guerrero was a really hyped Dominican guy. because he hits the ball really, really hard. Came over this year in A ball, only played in 51 games. Again, the minors, they don't really disclose injuries, like what happened to him, not really sure. But he had 6 home runs and 9 steals in the 51 games. So there's a nice little power speed here. You want to pull up his F scores here for Braylor Guerrero. And again, he's young, so 19-year-old at A ball. And they give him the F scores give him a 109 power, 96 hit, 94 discipline, 107 speed. And let me pull it up. I want to see if I had his EVs when I did his prospect ranking last time around here.
While you do that, reminder that F scores are subject to small samples as much as anything else is. I mean, they're all judged on those 219 plate appearances you see there, which is about a third of a full season. So those could change in a hurry. Just like, if he struggles for a couple months next year, those will drop pretty quickly. It's just something to keep in mind. But they're a better early signal than like the box score stats would be.
Yeah. So Braylor Guerrero, I did not put his EVs in, but I'm pretty sure he's like one of these freaks who was hitting it like 110 when he was like 17 in the Dominican or whatever. Because the Rays gave him 3.7 million as a signing bonus when they signed him. So let me see. Yeah, he has was known in Dominican as a 17-year-old hitting the ball over 110 miles an hour. Blah blah blah. So his max EV 111.7 is his max EV from when he was when they have record 105.4 90th percentile when he was in the Florida Coast League. So he hits the ball really hard for a young kid. So keep that in mind for Braylor Guerrero. Number 10, getting in the top 10 here, is Jedhair Arenamo. This is a guy that I picked in the Toolshed Dynasty draft. I just like him. He's not a starting pitcher. Sorry. I have a typo there. That's on me. He is a second base. I don't know why. On the actual sheet, Doc, or I call you Doc. John on the actual sheet.
Two strikes.
I put second base, shortstop in the actual sheet. So I don't know. Maybe our conversion thing is broken on the number 10 spot or something on the tables. So I'll fix that in the back end. But anyway, boom, fixed right now. So anyway, Jedhair Arenamo, bring him up on the F scores. He's really good across the board. Like this is just one of these guys that like has no weakness, and I'm a big fan of. And I think he's super underrated. I got him really deep in the draft. He's a shorter guy, 5'8", 160, but he plays second short. He's going to be 22 next year. And look at those F scores. That's a thing of beauty when every score is over 100. So 103 power, 107 hit, 110 discipline, 106 speed. So you know that is a nice player when you got that. So walk rate, 8%. Strikeout rate, only 11%. So this guy, good plate skills, and had a 285, 344, 445 slash on the season at all levels. So really good player here. 81.7% contact rate. Gotta love that. On the bases, you got here on the stolen base thing right here. He had 32 stolen bases in 2024, 21 this year. So his rate was 72% stolen base rate. So he got worse. So I guess there is a chance that, his stolen bases may go down as he goes up levels. But this year he had 15 bombs and 21 steals. So that's pretty solid home run stolen base total for a middle infielder here who has good contact rates.
Really small, though. I mean, that guy's smaller than me.
Yeah, 5'8", 160. But you know what? I don't know. So there's a lot, like Ozzy Albies makes it work. So there's a lot of shorter guys in the middle infield that make it work.
Yeah.
But AA, so he's also a guy that, could be like a cup of coffee guy or something at the end of this year. Number 9, Aiden Smith. That's the guy that Doc got in the Toolshed mock. Number 9 here. He was also like a top 150 guy for me. I can't remember. He might have fallen off. Yeah, he did fall out of my last top 150, but he was in my preseason top 150 my May top 150. So Aiden Smith had a really good 2024, kind of a rough 2025 in high A as a 21-year-old. They got him from the Mariners last year. I can't remember what that trade was now. Was that Randy Arozarena? Yeah, that was the Randy Arozarena trade. They got Aiden Smith. So Aiden Smith, a lot of speed and has some pop in the bat. So, but again, kind of like we talked about with Matt Horvath, his hit tool is not the greatest. So 14 bombs and 41 steals this year. really good. And he can run. Look at this. Stolen base percent success rate, 88% success and a 39% attempt rate. So both of those are really good. So he had 41 steals last year, 42 this year. So big time runner here with a 129 speed, 107 power, 99 hit. And you could see contact 69%. So his hit that we're getting is all based on quality contact by hitting line drives and stuff like that rather than contact rate.
Yeah.
And under 70% contact rate is pretty bad. So that's Aiden Smith. Just kind of like he's not going to make the best contact, but he is going to do things when he is getting on base. So I don't know what he would comp to. If you want to throw a comp,
let's try it.
This will be a fun one. Oh, look at that, Dylan Cruz. That's a good comp right there. Dylan Cruz had that kind of year. So that's an interesting comp. Dylan Cruz for Aiden Smith.
Dane Myers, yeah,
kind of Perkins. Yeah, James Outman. You don't want that for a comp, man, because he's out of the league, man.
he was pretty hype too. I remember Outman was a thing. Did he ever get pretty high up on your ranks? A couple years ago?
Yeah, I liked Outman for a year or two. His F scores are actually not bad for this year, so I think he might be a nice rebound candidate if he gets playing time. The thing is, with the Dodgers, you never know if guys are going to get playing time.
Outman's on. So, like, isn't he on the Twins now?
Is he? I thought he was still in the Dodgers.
No, he got moved, or nope. I think he got waived, like DFA'd and claimed. I think he's on the Twins.
I was last night. I was doing rankings and I saw his F scores and I was like, oh, he's actually not bad. Yeah, look at that. He did go to Twins. I didn't even know that. How about that? He can be the next Max Kepler.
No shot, at least. These prospects can never even get in the Dodgers lineup, no matter how good they are. So,
yeah, exactly. And they have a lot of good ones when we get to their farm. They'll be the last one because it's the Dodgers. Right. So next is Brandon Summerhill, who is number 8 on the list. He was picked 42 overall in this latest draft, and they paid him well. They gave him $2 million. Was in Arizona, and we actually should get some stuff on him, John, because he did debut. He had 5 steals and 10. He only played in 10 games and had 5 steals.
There's no F scores. Sorry.
Yeah, no F scores, but what we do have is an 85.7% contact rate, which kind of matters. We can see he's not striking out. He's been walking more than striking out, so that's a good sign for a college guy in A ball. 333, 429, 444 slash in 10 games, pretty solid. And we know he's running. So 5 steals in 10 games with an 83% stolen base rate and 40% attempt rate is good. So it looks like this dude's going to run. He's showing good contact. He's showing good plate skills. Haven't seen any power to date. But Summerhill's a really interesting prospect here. And he does have power, like a little bit. I mean, his metal bats. But in Arizona last year, he had 4 bombs, and he had 8 the year before that. So there might be a little bit of power in here, but he's primarily going to be like a hit speed guy. So I don't know if he's going to be like more of like a Jake McCarthy type, or if he's going to be, because we don't have enough of a sample size. I don't know, like Justin Crawford or really what. But he's an interesting dude for sure when you get that kind of hit and that kind of speed all in one package. Number 7, if you don't have anything to add, John, is going to be starting pitcher Santiago Suarez. So Santiago Suarez was hurt this year, so I'm not sure how many innings we actually got from him. Let's see once that pulls up here.
We can use this other dashboard to get the more box score friendly. So 12 starts, 52 innings this year.
Yeah, 52 innings only. So Santiago Suarez did spend a lot of time on the IL. It looks like it was a shoulder issue. So a little scary for a pitcher, but insane command. Only a 3.8% walk rate this year on the season. And this guy, unlike the other guys, he actually strikes guys out too. Yes. So the other guys that we talked about don't strike guys out. And this is what's crazy too. This guy made it all the way to AAA as a 20-year-old this year. And like I said, the Rays are usually slow roll guys, but the guys that they really like Caminero, they pushed him up quick. Wander Franco, they really pushed up quick. Santiago Suarez already at AAA as a 20-year-old for the Rays. That means they really, really like him, right? Like otherwise he'd be like toiling down an A ball or whatever right now, like most Rays prospects. So I think that alone should interest you. Besides the 21.9% K minus walk that he had, and the 3.8% walk rate, and almost 1 ERA, 101, or almost 1 WHIP, 101 WHIP for Santiago Suarez. What did the F scores give him here on his stuff? Because we do actually have some pitch level data.
Yeah, we'll hit that. We'll hit that in a second. I pulled up just the actual K to walk ratio. I always say that wrong. Which people often, the one we talk about most is K rate minus walk rate, and that's like the more descriptive way to say that, the proper way. But K to walk ratio would actually be like, that's the term I use, but I use it wrong. But what this is the actual ratio between the two. So I saw that Suarez had 54 strikeouts to 8 walks. That's 6.8. That's a huge number. League average around 3. So he's right behind your boy Marcus Johnson there. He had a pretty nice one as well last year. But anytime you're over 5 times as many strikeouts as walks, you're really cooking with something. With the F scores here, 105 stuff, 128 control. Strange that those two only would turn into a 98 FERA. So what?
Yeah,
home run issue?
Look at the home runs. 19 home runs given up over the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
So that sounds like a lot of home runs, especially considering that he only pitched 50 innings or whatever this year.
1.22 per 9. That's super high for the minor leagues.
Yeah. But go back to that page. I want to look at the pitch level data real quick here.
Yeah, sure.
So pitch level, fastball, you could see nearly 95 miles an hour. Fastball, 9.2 vertical movement's pretty good. That's not elite, but that should translate to roughly a 15 to 16 or 17 inch induced vertical break, which is league average for the majors. And that cutter is pretty nasty. Look at that cutter, John. 20.6 swing strike rate on a cutter is pretty sick. That means it's probably a slider that's getting labeled as a cutter.
Yeah.
Most of the time when you have swing strike rates like that on the cutter is because it's a gyro slider, not a actual like cutter. And then he's got a slider, which might be a sweeper. I know you have the sweeper designation, but it all depends on how the TrackMan or whatever is going to read it. Because a lot of times if you have a gyro slider, the other slider that you're throwing is a sweeper, not like an actual like standard slider. But 17.6 swing strike rate on that. So a couple different sliders here, getting some good swings and misses for him.
Have we seen
an average fastball?
Have we seen sweepers in the minor league data? Do I just call them all sliders?
I've seen it. It'll label as ST. I've seen it on there for some of these guys.
Yeah. All right, they're here. Okay. I was wondering about that, but
yep.
Yeah, it's hard to distinguish, and it's getting more and more tough as we've talked about. Like a lot of these pitches are hard to classify, and you got to pick something. So,
yeah. So next is going to be Daniel Pierce, shortstop for the Rays. He was their first overall pick in this last draft. He was 14th overall in the whole draft. He was their first round pick. But Daniel Pierce doesn't get a lot of the FYPD hype, kind of interestingly. And it's because he doesn't really have like one standout tool except for maybe speed. He is fast. I've seen like really good run scores on him. He has no minor league data because all he has done is like maybe he played in bridge or something, but he did not debut in A-ball. But he is a very well-rounded guy. He's got some power, got some speed, got some run. And that's why he doesn't really pop, because like there's a guy like Steele Hall is comped to like Trey Turner out of this draft, who's just super, super fast. Then you've got a guy like Ethan Holiday, who obviously has the family name, but besides the family name is known for his power. So he's got like one carrying tool. Whereas Daniel Pierce is more just like a super well-rounded guy, like all the way around. And one of the things that I like is his dad was is a coach, and he's known for like being a really smart baseball player. And I feel like the smart baseball player, well-rounded on the Rays, it just seems like that's something that's going to work out to me. It's a lot of good little puzzle pieces here for Daniel Pierce.
Do they just put everybody at shortstop and then let them see who's the best at it and move them off it? I mean, there's a ton of Rays shortstops.
That's right. Well, remember, most prep guys that are being drafted in the first round out of high school are all going to be shortstops, and they'll get moved off. Best. No, yeah, because all the best. It's like the quarterback, right? It's like how many guys played quarterback in high school, and then when they go to college, they go to wide receiver or whatever. It's just what happens.
Yeah, and they probably all pitch too. If you're like in the minor leagues, or if you're in like little league, like everybody that's somewhat athletic pitches. So it's like these guys all have pitching experience too. Shout out to me. I was always the shortstop on my church league slow pitch softball team. So, not to brag, but a little bit more athletic than the average church goer. So shout out to me as always.
Nice. Number 5, starting pitcher TJ Nichols, getting in the top 5 here. TJ Nichols had more innings pitched. I'm like 99% positive on this. He led the minor leagues in innings pitched this year. I might be wrong, but I'm like 99% sure that's the case. Let's see.
134. So we can.
Yeah.
If you actually want to test that bold claim, we can test
I do.
that.
I do. Let's see. I'm pretty confident that he had the most innings pitched this year.
All levels but MLB. Get rid of the Rays thing. No, not quite. 153 for some dude named Aaron Wilkerson, a 36-year-old. So.
Oh, that doesn't count. 36 years old. Get out of here.
Where is it? Where is he?
TJ Nichols. Yeah, but is it going to add in their playoff stuff too?
No.
Oh, look, he wasn't even on the top of the team. I'm so wrong.
Well, this is it's excludes the lowest levels, and then it doesn't have postseason stuff. So.
Oh, okay. So maybe
that's a lot, though. That's a ton of innings. It's a lot of innings.
Yeah, it's a lot of innings for a minor leaguer. He had a 24% K minus walk rate on the season, 13.6 swinging strike, 5.7% walk rate only. So what is the trend here with these Rays guys? They all have really good command, right? 108 stuff, 123 control, 102 FERA, and TJ Nichols is a top 150 guy for me. I'm going to tell you exactly where. In my last ranking update, I had him at 137 overall. And so he's fastball slider changeup guy. We don't have the pitch level data on him, but I will give you my pitching grades for him. So his fastball's mid 90s, and he's tall too. This guy's like 6 foot. What is he? 6'5", 189 pounds. My comp for him that I threw on him was shades of Logan Gilbert. Is the comp that I threw on him. I wonder what your thing's going to spit out. But that's the comp that I threw on him just watching him. But because he's really skinny and tall, I guess is like, and with good extension is going to do it. But I give him a 55 out of 55 on the fastball. Slider, he throws 85 to 88 miles an hour. I gave him a 55 out of 60 grade on the slider, and then he also throws a changeup. I put a 40 out of 50 on that, and I give him a 60 out of 65 on the command grade. So what comp did it spit out there for him, John?
Well, it looks like the pitcher one's not working as well.
Oh yeah, you got a hitter there as a comp for a pitcher.
Well, no, it is Ted Mizurowski, Hoffman, Whitlock, Dreyer.
Oh, man, that's interesting, Mizurowski. It's because he's well. I wonder, is it? This is the one thing though. Is the comp thing gonna throw in physical attributes?
No.
We should get a way to maybe put on heights as like one of the like height and weight or something.
You'd probably want to do it completely differently for pitchers.
Yeah. For pitchers, you would want to put like arm slot and then like if they're lefty or righty, and maybe
this won't even account handedness. So I mostly made this for hitters and then kind of just applied all the same.
Attributes would be a good one too, like fastball attribute or whatever would be, or like pitch mix would be another good one. But yeah, TJ Nichols is a top 150 guy for me. Let's get to number 4. Number 4 on the list is Colton Ledbetter. I picked up Colton Ledbetter in the tool shed mock, and Doc was like bedwetter, like yeah. So Colton Ledbetter, I think he was a second rounder out of Mississippi State a couple years back. Really good season last year, kind of an iffy one this year, but the F scores gave me a little bit more confidence in him because I was like, oh, okay. 114 ISO this year versus a 210 last year, but he was in the Southern League this year. So that's probably why we saw his home run total get cut in half from 16 to 7. But he also can run a bit here. So stolen base rate actually went down this year to 77. And he had 37 steals this year versus 34 last year. And again, someone might say, why do you have Ledbetter ahead of Aiden Smith in your rankings? He's closer. So part of my rankings is going to be a bit of a proximity factor. Ledbetter is in AA. He's going to be AAA next year. Aiden Smith spent the whole year in high A. So he's a whole year behind Ledbetter, basically. And that matters. Proximity matters because you're going to get value for your fantasy team faster from a guy who is closer to the majors than a guy who is a whole year behind. So there is a proximity factor in these rankings. I'm not just ranking the guy who has the highest tools automatically ahead of a guy with lower tools, right? Because you want it as a fantasy player, you want to get your value soon. You don't want to be waiting forever to get your value out of these guys, right, John? And I know as the redraft guy, you understand that more.
And a 105 F score in 2.5 years is better than 1.5 a year. It's more stable. You know, you've seen more of the guy. You can feel a little bit better about the solidity. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be the tough thing to do this dynasty league and be sitting on guys in single A. I mean, how many ways are there for a guy in single A to fail? Like, he has to stay healthy. He has to show that he can hit all the different levels and ages and stuff. And there's a long way a lot of runway there to fail on when you're comparing lower guys to higher guys. So I'd certainly agree with what you're saying, but it is important to clarify that that's how you're ranking rather than just raw skill.
Are you going to manage like AJ Preller and just trade all your prospects every chance you get?
I did a dynasty league one time, and I kind of figured it. Like, I wasn't running it. I wasn't involved. It was with people I didn't really know. People that ended up like, I don't think they'd have me in the league at this point anyway. There were some of those guys that ended up like thinking I was the devil or whatever, but that's a different discussion. But in 2020, and I was like, there's no way I'm in this league. Like, I'm only doing this because it's COVID and there's nothing going on. I just need to kill some time. So there's like no way I'll actually be in this league in a few years. So I drafted all like major leagues. I was like, let me just try to win this thing right now. Didn't win it there. My team was bad in the short term and probably still bad in the long term, whoever took it over. But yeah, I'll try not to do that. I'm going to try to find a balance. I'm going to certainly be using the trouble that you're going to have, Tim, is that you're going to see that I'm just taking the guys that the F scores like, because that's my main source of information. So I'm going to be picking off your list, I think.
That's okay. I expect a few people will probably be doing that. It happens in every league that I'm in.
Yeah.
Like, there will be guys that all, try to get or whatever. Like an Otnu, for instance, anytime I nominate someone, they're like $5 way too expensive.
Right.
Because I nominate them.
I'm going to take Dylan Beavers with my $60 whatever. I'm going to go crazy on Beavers.
That happened. I literally have Dylan Beavers in every single keeper or dynasty league that I'm in right now. And there was one where I nominated him and someone spent like way more money on him. And it made me so mad that I went and traded for him after.
Nice.
I was like, oh, how dare you? So I had to go trade for him. But number 3 here, back to the Rays, is Brody Hopkins, who's a ton of fun. This guy's a top 100 prospect for me in the next update. He was actually at 103 in the last update, but he'll be a top 100 in the next update. This guy throws 6 pitches. He was in Double-A. This is when you're going to want to throw up the arm slot, because the F scores, this is stuff that, like, as soon as we get Arsenal data from him, I feel like the stuff is going to go up. He's got a 103 F stuff, 100 control, and 112 FERA, 334 JAERA. But look at his arm slot here. He's got basically it's like a quick, weird, like, it's almost sidearmy shot putty type arm slot is what I call it. Look at this. You saw that from the side like that? Yeah, it's so weird. I comped him. I put shades of a wild Zach Wheeler. What's my comp?
He looks like Zach Wheeler.
Yeah, he does. I'm pretty good with my comps. We'll see if I can compete against your AI comp. So anyway, Brody Hopkins, 6 pitches. He throws a fastball 96 to 99 miles an hour. I threw a 60 on that pitch. He throws a sinker 93 to 97. I threw a 60 out of 65 on that pitch. He throws a sweeper 87 and 90 miles an hour on the sweeper. So he's got high heat on the sweeper. I throw a 60 out of 65 on the sweeper. He throws a cutter 88 to 91. I threw a 45 out of 50 on that. He's got a changeup 86 to 88. I threw a 40 on the change. And then he's got a curveball that I threw a 50 out of 55 on that he throws in the low 80s. And command is like the one big thing for him. I only give him a 35 out of 40 on the command. That's where he really could improve. You see an 11.6% walk rate is not great. And he hasn't even made it to AAA yet, so maybe it gets even worse when he gets to AAA. But he has a wide arsenal, and he has a weird arm slot. So these are things that's going to help his stuff play up more than probably it should. So I'm a big Brody Hopkins guy.
Like that. It's a high FERA, which is what I'd probably be looking at, 112. Anything over 110 is pretty sweet.
Yeah. You'll notice, John, that the guys with larger arsenals are probably going to score higher in the FERA thing, because it keeps hitters guessing more than a guy who's like a 3-pitch guy. And when it's harder to guess, you're less likely to hit bombs off of somebody or make like really, really good contact because there's just so many variations of pitches. Yeah,
we saw it with like the Spencer Strider kind of archetype that came up 3 years ago. Like, nobody really thought you could have success with just fastball slider. And it turns out you can if they're both extremely good. And then you've seen like a few guys, I mean, as a Pirates guy, like Jared Jones seemed to just kind of copy what Strider was doing, like 90% 4-seamers and sliders. And it's great for strikeouts. And those pitches are somewhat easy to command too, but they're going to go for home runs a lot. Because not only like a four seamer and a slider are typically like, I don't know what it is about them, but those are the ones that give up the home runs at a higher rate. And then also, yeah, if you only have if you got a 50-50 shot at guessing what pitch is coming, that's going to turn into a lot more hard hit fly balls. But yeah, it's not necessarily, you can succeed with 2 or 3 pitches, but as if you're going to like break a tie, like certainly I'll take more pitches rather than fewer, obviously.
Yeah, for sure. Next on the list, number 2 is outfielder Theo Gillen with the Rays. Gillen was their first rounder last year. So we talked about Pierce, who was their first rounder in 2025. Gillen was the 2024 first rounder. And Gillen had a rough end of the year. So he might go down a little bit in my rankings, but F scores like him. Where he needs to improve is making quality contact more than the contact rate itself. But he's got a 101 power, 95 hit tool, 120 discipline, 121 speed. Of course, Rays love their athletic guys. He had a 100% stolen base rate last year, but of course, small sample size, 1 for 1. 92% this year, though, with 36 steals is insane. But he was not like, I feel like 32% attempt rate. You almost want him to run like 40% of the time if he's that successful at running. But maybe he just knows his spots and picks them well. And that's why he had a 92% success rate.
Yeah.
But obviously, you love when a guy runs if they get on base. And Theo Gillen gets on base, almost a 20% walk rate. So that's something you have to consider with your stolen base guys. Is like you just want them to get on base so they run more. Like you don't really care if it's a walk or a hit. Like just get on base and then steal because you're drafting Theo Gillen to steal. Not really.
This is Billy Bean. You're Billy Bean from Moneyball right now. So he walks a lot. He gets on base a lot. Do I care if it's a walk or a hit? And then he points at Pete. Pete's
yeah,
you do not.
Except for Billy Bean never gives the guys the green light to steal. So that's the difference. Is I'm like, no, get on base and then run. So Theo Gillen, by the way, a 149 WRC plus as a 19-year-old at A-ball this year. So that's pretty solid. I like Gillen a lot. I think that the hit tool is going to make strides forward. And I think that the power, even though he only had 5 home runs, I think that in the majors, he could be like a 10-ish home run guy. And you'll take that if he's stealing 40 bags. Like you'd much rather have 40 steals and 10 bombs than 1 homer and 50 steals, I think. So I think that that makes him a lot more playable. Obviously, too, he's got size, 6'2", 185. So there's some projectability in the size. But as you already mentioned earlier in the podcast, John, he's a lefty, and this is the Rays. So like that is the one concern is like, is he going to get Josh Loud or whatever in this outfield for the Rays eventually? That's like the one concern that you do have for him.
Let me look. I'm kind of curious as to what the Rays plate appearance leaders were like. Only 2 guys over 600. It was Caminero and Yandy. Nobody else. I mean, Brandon Lau went on the IL at least once, and
yeah, but he gets platooned even too. He doesn't play against lefties.
Aranda. I mean, Aranda was an all-star, 883 OPS. I don't think he got hurt. No, I guess he did get hurt, didn't he? He missed time, so I guess that's not the most telling thing. But okay, now I don't know. I don't remember. Was Aranda playing against lefties? But the point, like, if they're not willing to give Aranda full time, like that, they really prefer the platoon stuff. But there's only so much you can do. I mean, you can't hold 19 hitters on your roster. Like, there's some guys have to play every day. So, but you're right. It's a little bit more risk with this organization.
Yep. Last guy we're going to talk about here, number 1, is a guy that you know because he's made the major leagues, and you already talked about him for half a second earlier.
I never understood why anybody was enthralled with the guy. His numbers always look bad to me. The K rate's crazy.
Okay, so Carson Williams, number 1. First thing to consider and to remember, John, is that he has like an 80 grade glove. So he's going to be your Mason Wynn. He's going to
get him out of here then.
No matter what.
So why is it? But you don't consider that in your rankings, right?
No, but this is what you do consider though with the glove is that he's playing time. The Rays. Yeah. He's not going to be platooned. His glove is too good to platoon him, so he's going to play all the time. And he is a power speed guy. So contact rate 62.7% is terrible. 77% zone contact is terrible. His hit tool is a 97 on the F scores. It's not because of the contact. It's because he makes good contact when he does. 12% barrel rate is going to help drive that. A 25.6% line drive rate. So despite not making a lot of contact, he does have good quality of contact numbers, a 37% sweet spot. So he does have good quality of contact, and he hits the ball hard. A 107 90th percentile EV is really, really good, especially for a shortstop. That's really sick for a shortstop. 111.7 max is pretty solid for a shortstop. And he also steals bags. He had an almost 80% stolen base rate, 79%, so right under that 80% we were talking about. And he attempted his stolen base attempt rate went down from last year. It was 33% in 2024, 27% in 2025. So maybe he was just trying to like work on something, or maybe they said, hey, slow down here. But he had 33 steals last year in 2024, 22 this year. But he had 23 bombs and 22 steals in the minors, John. And in the majors, this is what's going to be great. He's not going to get drafted. He's going to have like no value because he was so bad last year in the majors. People are going to look at a 172 batting average and nobody's going to pick him. But he had 5 bombs and 2 steals. So he gave you the power and he gave you the speed. But in the majors, he only had a 240 BABIP. So bad luck and small sample size and a 41% K rate are basically going to make this guy undraftable for people who are not following the prospect stuff. Like, I think all that stuff's going to come down. Is he going to strike out a lot? Yeah. But is he a 41% K rate guy? No. I think he's more like a 33 or 34% K rate guy, probably. Like, he's probably going to be between 30 to 35% K rate. But if he's putting up that kind of power speed and he's playing every day, he's going to be useful as long as he can hit like 240. Like, if he can put up a 240 batting average or a 230 batting average, that's perfectly fine. The thing you have to remember is there's going to be volatility in this profile because he does have bad contact rates and he strikes out a lot. There's going to be a lot of volatility, so there's going to be really bad weeks with him. But I think over the long haul of a season, he's going to have decent enough numbers if you're doing like a roto league. So,
yeah, you're speaking my language. Number 4, daily MLBDW commandment number 4, thou shalt buy low on the hitter of the second year, and thy patience shall be rewarded. I don't know if this was too lame that I had ChatGPT write these in King James version of text. Okay. I felt a little lame about it. But then in English, I wrote it, the amplified version for you Christians out there that'll understand that joke. Sorry, no, that wasn't even the right joke. The Message, there's like this translation of the Bible called The Message, and they put it in really modern day lingo. It's just like, it's even more, it's just like super cringy, terrible. But anyway, I wrote it, invest in stud prospects hitters in their second year, AKA forgive, ignore the first 100 PAs. And what you just said is exactly 105 plate appearances and they sucked. This is the perfect situation according to thy 10 commandments of buying low and Carson Williams. There's also another one that says invest in skill, buy raw talent, power, speed. I like those guys. Now, it's too bad that it comes with a reliably high K rate, like the 30% thing in the minor leagues makes it pretty tough to believe that he could drop that to 25% in the majors this year. But okay, that's kind of the only knock. And yeah, I would agree that this guy's like, I was trying to pull this up. Let's do this. Like, what's the ADP looking like right now? 450-ish in drafts. That's free in a standard league. So, okay, I'm on board there. You've changed my mind. There's I guess the point is this is the perfect time to buy.
Yes. And he's going to play every day. He's probably going to he's almost definitely going to go 2020 as long as he doesn't get hurt, I would say. And while you might get a really bad batting average with that, the quality of contact, as long as he has not bad luck, because I mean, like if you look throughout his minor league career, he's constantly running like 340, 350 BABIPs. And then in the majors this year, 240 and in AAA, 282. So if he even if he has a standard BABIP for him, if he averages to his career minor league BABIP average, you're looking at like a 230 or 240 hitter, which is fine if you're getting 2020 out of him.
Yeah. Yeah. If that K drops to 33%, XBA probably comes up to 230 or something. You're right. The sweet spot rate dropped 7 points from the minors to the majors. That's pretty significant. Ground ball rate's 59%. That's not going to stay that high. Like almost nobody does that. So yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, I mean his ground ball rate in the minors was like 35% every stop. It was like 35. So it's abnormally high ground ball rate for him. Like usually he's like for instance, AAA this year 26.4% line drive rate. 2024 26.3. So he's a line drive hitter and he also pulls too. So like he's got like almost 50% pull rates through the last couple of years in the minors. So you're going to get pull power too from him. So I'm big on a Carson Williams rebound here.
Where's he at?
And there's going to be a ton of value, I think.
Do you know where he's at?
I think he was like right at like 50. Let me bring it up real quick. Last time I ranked him, he was at 50. Or sorry, Wrong guy. 59. 59 was last time. So he's been hovering for years because he's been around for years. So there's probably going to be an element of prospect fatigue with him too. Prospect fatigue and then bad or initial call up is going to be a lot of value. But he's been in the like 40 to 50 range for me for like 3 years now.
Okay. So the Rays don't have any like top 20 studs, but they just kind of pepper in that 50 to 150 range.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of guys, a lot of good prospect depth.
Okay.
So that's a podcast, John, unless you have anything else to add on the end here, anything else to promote.
That's it. Team previews are going. Tools are coming out. My 2026 projections will be out soon. Good tools comparing that. I always have a dashboard. It'll probably be on the web app now it'll show you every publicly available projection system as well as my own. So for anybody who's doing early drafts, November, December, that's probably not a ton of you, but I'm kind of trying to get you stuff that is unlike other stuff you can find. So I'm ready. That's all coming into place. So we're going strong through November. And again, thanks to Tim for running all this. This has been fun and long way to go, but learning a lot.
Yeah. All right. That's a pod. Follow John at JohnPGH. Follow me at Fantasy Aceball. And make sure that you subscribe to the podcast. And more importantly, subscribe to MLB Data Warehouse so that you can access all these awesome tools. Otherwise, all you're going to do is you have to, if you want to see a player, you have to wait until we talk about him on the podcast. Yeah. If you don't buy. So go ahead and buy in. It's cheap stuff for winning your league. You spend a dime and you get $1 back. So go do it. Peace out, everybody. See you next time.